Today on the Tiger Basketball Report, we'll preview the Tigers game against the UMBC Retrievers and their slate in the 2016 South Point Holiday Hoops Classic. Get ready, Tigers fans. The Tiger Basketball Report starts now.
And here we have 1893 from the makers of Pepsi Cola. I'm gonna swirl it. I'm gonna smell it. I'm just gonna take one small sip.
Kinda seemed like more than a sip.
Yeah, let me show you. Refined.
1893, made with cola nut extract and real sugar. Boldly blended colas.
For an athlete, there's nothing scarier than a torn ACL.
Athletes trust us with their care and their careers because we're a recognized leader in sports medicine.
Get back to your active life sooner with MedStar Sports Medicine.
Wise Market's ice cream plant is based in Sunbury, Pennsylvania, and it's locally owned and operated. We've been making our ice cream for nearly 50 years. We create roughly 70 flavors of ice cream right now. We use local ingredients, especially our cream, which is from our milk plant. The cream is what gives our ice cream a rich and creamy texture. Now, together with our customers, we've created a product called Peanut Butter Indulgence, which will be coming out this summer. It's a peanut butter ice cream with sea salt caramel swirl and chocolate-covered pretzel. How can you go wrong with that? Personally, I love our ice cream. If you come to our house at any given time, you'll find at least 5 packets of ice cream in our freezer. Our kids grew up eating Wise quality ice cream, and now we get to treat our grandchildren to it. It's been a pleasure for me to be tasting ice cream for over 40 years for Wise Markets, and I'm loving every minute of it.
Hello and welcome into the TSN studios for today's episode of the Tiger Basketball Report. I'm your host, Spiro Morekas. The Tigers have finished up their 6-game homestand and will make the trip all the way to Catonsville for a game against UMBC on the 17th. The Tigers will look to keep the momentum going after the win against Fairleigh Dickinson. As always, I'm joined by the head coach of the Tigers, Pat Skerry. And coach, this is a team that comes in with a 7-2 record. Tough loss against Richmond in their last game. They, like Towson, off this week for exams. Then you'll get back at it at the rack on Saturday against this UMBC team that's led by Jarius Lyles, a transfer from VCU, averaging 22 points a game.
Well, I'm hoping he has to take an exam Saturday night at 7 o'clock. That would be good. Hey, Ryan Odom's doing a great job. They're really good. It should be an exciting game for Baltimore basketball. They got a great point guard they brought in, KJ Mara. Rodney Elliott's back. The kid Sherburne shoots it. Darley.
Delaney high guy,
yeah,
Darley.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And they're potent on offense. They're like 5th in the country in made threes. They really spread you out, a lot of ball screens. Similar to a couple teams we might have seen recently. But it's going to be a fun, challenging game. You're always worried as a coach coming out of exams. You're not quite sure sometimes where everyone's at mentally. But, it's our defense and our ability to hopefully guard the three-point shot is going to have to be at a very, very high level against this team. But it should be a fun atmosphere.
Now, this is kind of a walk the tightrope week for you because obviously your players, the most important thing are their finals, but you also don't want to lose whatever continuity you have. How do you work that during exam week?
Yeah, we played Saturday and then took off on Sunday, obviously. We had like a film lift practice Monday and Tuesday, just skill work, a couple different groups. Off Wednesday, totally, because that's like the major exam day. And then we're back at it Thursday and Friday, getting ready for a Saturday night game, but we'll end up practicing at night, which normally we don't do, and a couple times a little bit later at night because it's, when they've got some review sessions, some tutoring, some study groups, I think it's hard to have guys go from that to practice back to exam. You know what I mean? So
right.
We really want them to lock in on their academics and then get them in at night. But it's, we always say student athletes, it's crunch time for these guys. There's a lot of stress and anxiety, and it's It's not layup. It's not layup city.
I don't think the general public gets a sense of how hard these guys work at their craft of basketball, but at the same time, they have to be students and they've got to keep their grades up.
Well, I mean, first they're given a lot because they're here on scholarship. But no, it's not the time demands of really any student athlete. It's challenging. Classes, you got to eat breakfast, you got practice, you got training, you got weightlifting, you got film, you got study groups. So it's a lot. You got to manage it. The tricky thing with basketball is we're a 2-semester sport,
right.
So we go over both semesters, and it's we say it all the time as coaches and the players. It's a grind, but it is what it is. There's 350 other schools that have to go through it at our level, and we're in it right now.
And you went through it. You got through.
I wasn't at this level as a player.
But you still got through it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
We assume.
I was a psychology major, so I'm always analyzing everything around me, including you, Spiro.
All right, after the UMBC game, Towson will head to Vegas. Tough trip to make. You got to go to Vegas. But you're facing two really, really good schools in Nevada and Iona. How did this tournament come about? How did Towson get into it? And when you look at those two schools, I know you're not pleased that you've got some toughies coming up.
Yeah, I'm asking myself why I took this opportunity. But, it's going to help us for the league. These are the type of teams that could and would potentially win our leagues. They're both postseason teams, different styles, but both very good. They've actually played each other twice, and they split, Nevada and Iona, believe it or not. So both games are tight. And what happened is it's just a 2-game deal, and scheduling something. It's hard to get home games, and Tim Leonard, our AD, and Jimmy McCarthy helps put the schedule together. We were approached about it, and it made sense. We didn't have a trip for the guys, and ultimately, I think it's going to help us get ready for the league. Now, we want to go out there and play really well and win, and we're going to need to against these teams. But it made sense. It's right before the holiday break, and we needed to get our 13 non-conference games. I like to get those games in before Christmas. I don't want to come back after Christmas. I like to give the guys 3 days off and then strictly turn the page and get ready for CAA play.
Right, because these are the final three, the UMBC
Yep.
and then
And about half our
Vegas.
league plays a game after Christmas, and probably half doesn't. I like to get them done beforehand.
As you wind up this non-conference schedule, obviously you've played a pretty tough schedule so far. Maybe the toughest non-conference schedule that you've had since you've been here after you get done with Nevada and Iona and UMBC. Any regrets of your scheduling this year, or happy with it, and you think it's going to make you battle-tested?
Long term, it's going to make us battle-tested. I know that. Yeah, definitely regrets. I have a ton of. I'm not one of those guys that always do. I like the the quick turnaround from Maryland to BC. But obviously, we've lost 3 or 4 that we should have had. But I do think ultimately it's going to be what we learn from that'll define us come March. I think the mission hasn't changed, the goal hasn't changed. We know where we're capable of getting to. It's still about honoring the process and what we do on a daily basis that'll give us that chance to have success in March.
All right, well, the Tigers will tip off against UMBC at 7 o'clock inside the rack. I'll have the call on CBS Sports Radio 1300 at 6:45. Be sure to check out TowsonTigers.com for game time info for the Tigers games against Nevada and Iona. Coach, good luck. Thanks for joining us. And, we're doing this the day after New England beat the Ravens in Monday Night Football. So this week, I've got to take a quote from one of the greatest bands to ever come out of Boston, Aerosmith. Just tell your guys they got to get a grip.
That's right. Hey, and Tom Brady, we trust. All others pay cash.
That will do it for us on today's episode of the Tiger Basketball Report. Before we go, let us here at TSN, we want to say congratulations to all of the TU students that are graduating this week. Thanks for joining us. Have a great week, and as always, go Tigers.